Welcome to Is Anybody Listening to Me podcast with Azar and the Meat. And today's an exciting night. We get our third man in. It's been a long overdue, and the fans were getting restless, demanding the third man. I almost felt a little insulted, Big Meat. There was a demand, like something was missing because we didn't have our third man. But I thought the podcast went a little bit more efficiently without him. So
it's like we're a couple of nobodies. We're not the celebrities on this podcast, Azar. We all know now who the celebrity is.
Clearly, he's the third man makes a difference.
I say, yeah, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I was just going to say today we're just going to recap. I'm going to share a beer like I was for the fall season that I think I had a chance to try that I highly recommend. And we're going to do some entertainment as usual. And now that our third man's here, we're going to dive in. This is going to be a very heavy football podcast. I'm sure our third man has got tons of opinions on things that he's probably been dying to unload on.
It has been so long since I've joined you fools. It feels great to be back. I need some playing music here or something.
I say why keep our fans waiting? I say we let just Jarvis talk and just it's like whatever he wants to talk about right now for the next 5 minutes.
No.
Whatever he wants to say.
Because it'll be an essay form. It's like he's giving us his freaking thesis. No. We have to keep him in structure because if he's been drinking, it's going to be a long night, and the fans will be back too. Can you please put him back in check? Like I forgot we're going to get into some trench warfare or some heavily detailed things.
There is so much to talk about with you fools. So much to talk about.
All right, we'll blast through the entertainment and the quick stuff just so we can get right to the football and give our third man, because we know he still hasn't paid for an HBO subscription since we've last talked to him. So
no chance.
If it ain't free, it ain't for him. All right, Big Meat, let me just jump in. For just a quick recommendation, I had a chance to do a pumpkin beer tasting, which was really good. It was a dinner. I'm going to give a shout out to the restaurant Yamas. It was a Greek restaurant that did a 4-course meal, and each meal they paired it with the beer that they thought would go well with the dinner. It was an amazing dinner, but more importantly, I thought they were going to give us flights, like just a sample each beer. They gave us giant goblets to drink out of, like 16-ounce goblets for each thing. I was like kind of blown away. It was like you couldn't fit we know there's some power drinkers among this group, but for a normal person, between courses, you were like sucking back the beer just to get ready for the next course. It was amazing. But there was one thing I've never tried that came from Southern Tier, and I'm a big fan of Southern Tier Brewing out of New York. They had something called a Warlock Imperial Stout. Now, they called it a pumpkin stout when they gave it to us, but when I researched it, they call it Warlock Imperial Stout. So it's got a Halloween theme. But for those who like stouts, it was actually a very delicious fall beer. I would highly recommend it for those that are into stouts. I did a little homework just for those that aren't savvy, because we talk about different beers. We're used to talking about pumpkin ales, and the difference between an ale and a stout is that ales are usually made from malted barley, while stouts are generally made from roasted malts. And usually stouts have more alcohol. Why is that third man giggling? Is there you going to add? Is there?
You better not start with tomato face again.
He's already
you're gonna lose me.
I'm nowhere there yet. No, I'm just watching Azar read this definition.
Well, I don't know from memory. I'm telling you what it is. Oh man, I forgot we were dealing with here.
Oh, when Jarvis starts laughing, it makes me giggle. It just makes me giggle. I don't know why.
It's gonna be a long night.
I haven't even said anything yet.
All right, but the website. So since our third man is big into smoking meat, and I know R3 is into smoked food and barbecue and things like that, this is what they pair this Warlock Stout with. They said it's good to be paired with spicy barbecue, and smoked and roasted foods. So just next time you're smoking some ribs or anything during football season, I am researching where to find it. Hopefully by the next podcast, I'm going to try that place in Burlington, that Total Wine liquor store that I saw when I go to work. And hopefully I can find it there because I've never seen it in any of the stores in New Hampshire. But I'm going to have to go to some craft stores and see if I can track it down. But so that's my recommendation. It's just a seasonal beer, so try to get it while you can, because we'll probably be into winter beers not that far from now, because the way the seasons fly when they talk about beers. But other than that, Big Meat, I'll pass it over to you for entertainment.
All right, so I'll get right into the entertainment portion of the segment. I like it. So I know I mentioned this show before a couple of weeks back, a couple of podcasts ago, but the season just ended, and I was actually blown away by actually how good the season actually was. And this is Disney Plus's What If, Marvel's What If animated show. I know it's animated, so you gotta have to kind of fight through some of those half-hour animated shows, but I gotta say it was really well done. I want to say I think there were eight total episodes, each about a half hour, 30, 35 minutes. And they had their own like little story in it. And it ties back to the whole multiverse, what Marvel is doing now with their series of shows and movies. So by the end of the season, you actually was like, oh, it all was kind of connected in a way. So it was really well done. The animation was great. They, like we said last time, they brought back a lot of the actors to come back and actually play the voice of a lot of the same characters. Not everyone, but most of them. And yeah, by the end of the season, I looked back, I said, wow, that was actually a pretty good show. It was just kind of like, it was kind of under the radar. I want to say there were 8. I think there were 8.
Okay.
And the last one just got released a day or two ago. So yeah, it's like the season's done, but it was really well done. I mean, some parts of it were a little bit like, all right, it's kind of stupid, but you got to kind of take the kind of the stupid things with the good parts of it. But it was really good. Okay, I do recommend it, especially if you're a Marvel fan and you're just looking at it like, I'm not watching that. That's an animated show. You kind of have to. You kind of have to, because much like the Star Wars animated shows where they consider those canon, these are considered canon as well. It's part of what's really going on when you watch the shows and the movies, and so it is all connected for sure.
That's good. I have to try that now that I can binge it, because now you said that it's all downloaded because it was dropping weekly, so you can binge the episode now.
Yeah,
basically.
Yep.
All right, I'll have to give that a whirl. I feel like, I don't know. I've been so busy. I feel like I've been in limbo. The only show that I've been really religious about is that show on Tuesday on Hulu. That show that we talked about last week with Steve Martin and Martin Short. Anyways, I'll have to try that out. I actually just started, and I know it dropped a little bit earlier, is that HBO Max series, The Titans, which is basically a DC Comics show, which compared to the movies and everything else that has dropped, it's the most intriguing thing that I watch from a DC Comics perspective. It's even better than, I know Doom Patrol was a DC Comics thing that HBO Max is dropping, and they got renewed for another season, and they just started their new season. This show is it has some lulls in it, but the action is really good, and they're not afraid of killing off characters, which is pretty good. So it's not kid friendly. So they had this season premiere had some big name characters go down. The only flaw in the show that you'll notice is the guy that plays Batman in the show never really dresses up like Bruce Wayne. So dresses up like Batman. He's always in Bruce Wayne's character, but he's this mopey version of Bruce Wayne. And you know how I feel about mopey superhero. Like, even though he's not like he has superpowers.
You hate the mopiness.
Oh my God, he's always.
Are you sure it's mopey and it's not like a brooding character? Like he just kind of comes off as mopey.
He's always
like, isn't that what Bruce Wayne's character is like? It's more.
I don't know. Like it's. I don't know how to describe it. It's like he's always in this dark place, like always. Like there's no break from it, and it's almost like. And I guess the nice thing is when you see him play Batman, like he takes that character in his action and you forget about it. But when he's Bruce Wayne all the time, it's like, dude, really? Like, how much are we going to fixate on depressed? Like, what? There's nothing more to add to the show. We get it. He's got these inner demons and stuff like that. That's the only part of the show that I find has been dragging. And then sometimes during the character development, DC Comic is so dark, and all their heroes have like this, like dark, depressing past about them. That's the thing about DC is like, it's always dark and depressing. Like even when they have superpowers, they're like can't be happy for some reason. It's just a weird take on the comic books there. But anyways, it's a good show. And if you like action and violence, it's the closest thing to that Netflix series of Daredevil, Punisher, and that. Like, the action, the violence. No nudity in any of them. But I can't remember if there was a lot of nudity in any of the Netflix series.
But I'm not interested.
Yeah. But was there nudity? I can't remember if Daredevil had nudity or anything in it, right?
A little bit. I don't know if it was
very brief.
Very brief. Yeah, it wasn't anything. Yeah. But it was rated R, I remember. I thought it was.
But that's because of the violence.
The violence, yeah.
The gory. So that's the only thing I can compare it to is if you liked the Daredevil, the action, but you liked the violent, like the very graphic violence.
Right.
This is the HBO Max version of it. And it's since they canceled the Netflix series, that Marvel series on Netflix, I find this is the closest thing to it. If you want
I did hear that they are bringing back a lot of those characters with the same actors playing them, though. I don't know how they're bringing them back. It's not like their own Netflix shows anymore. It's like they're incorporating those characters back into Marvel somehow. Like the guy that played Punisher, they've already signed him on to like come back to play the Punisher in some form, so.
Yeah, there's some great characters. Punisher, the Spider-Man's character, and the villains that surround Spider-Man, and the villains that surround Punisher, because they kind of overlap. Those guys overlap with each other. They have they're much deeper and much more entertaining than some of the characters you see, these other Marvel characters. I just don't find the villains, they tend to be okay. I love Spider-Man villains. Like they
definitely have the best. Yeah, they definitely have the best villains.
And we talked about that before. But anything, if you can associate Venom, any of the Marvel characters, and Punisher has battled Spider-Man, these guys are all tied in together. So that would be fun if they can bring that all together. But doesn't Daredevil and those guys, they're like their own super group, right? I forgot. Didn't they have a name?
The Defenders.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So is Marvel going to go down that road and try to reintroduce the Defenders?
I don't know. I mean, they haven't really said anything. They just said that they're trying to bring back some of those characters, and like even the guy that played Kingpin, like I think they've signed him on to come back and
he did
play
a great
Kingpin.
job.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I don't know how they're going to do it or how they're going to. I mean, of course, now like we've talked about this with Marvel with the whole multiverse, right? I mean, now you could kind of just pick characters from other worlds or whatever, you know what I mean, and incorporate them in. So you could actually figure out a way to now do it and have it still make sense.
Yeah, but none of those guys had like superpowers. Like, Daredevil didn't have, like, they were just normal people that evolved into they're basically vigilantes.
Well, Daredevil was really the only one, but I mean the other Defenders, they had superpowers. Huh?
Who had superpowers?
The guy
Luke Cage,
right? He was kind of indestructible. What about Iron Fist? He had like the fist that lit up,
but he was trained that way. That was his.
That was a superpower, though. I mean, he can punch a brick wall. What do you mean? Like,
but
and then
you
the
can believe
woman,
in
right?
Shang-Chi, right? Shang-Chi had that superpower, and anyway,
whatever.
Like,
but the woman
had
she had like superhuman strength too, right? She was like the woman there that Jessica Jones. Like, yeah, they all had some superpowers. It was just Daredevil that just. Well, then again, Daredevil had superpowers too, right? He had heightened senses. He was blind
because he was blind.
No, but it was like super like senses. Like it was even more so than your normal person. Pretty sure.
We'll have to debate this over a few beers because we're going to go full dork on this one. And our third man.
I'm surprised.
Oh my God!
I'm surprised he hasn't jumped in.
I just wrote my dissertation on trench warfare while you guys were jacking off to glowing fists.
Well, we could talk about Game of Thrones if you like. The new trailer for the prequel has come out.
I thought that's where Azar was going with his beer. I was like, what is this? Winter Warlock is coming.
Yeah, well,
you know it's what the Hofgoffers drink.
There's a prequel to Game of Thrones coming out, Jarvis. So now it's a whole new show that's coming out that you're gonna have to get sucked into the world of Game of Thrones.
Hey, don't make fun of the Imperial Stout. It's got 8.6 alcohol in it, so it's not a little light beer. It's not a girly little beer. It's not a seltzer or anything. It's a good beer.
That's right. It's like anal sex. It's real hard. It's rough. People talk about it, but nobody really likes it.
I don't even know what to think of that.
Welcome back. The third man in. Welcome back to our podcast.
Well, hey, so you.
Hey, I'm watching the show right now. You guys didn't even ask me if I was watching anything. That wasn't very nice.
Because I don't give a shit if it's about London. If it's fucking like everything you watch is about London.
Is that true?
You're probably watching the Meghan. What the hell is that?
Harry and Meghan? No, it's better than that. It's American Crime Story.
When the sequel to the Pest
shut up for a second. Wait, you never even watched the Pest.
Comes out, then
when you watch the Pest,
we'll ask you.
You'll know. American Crime Story: The Impeachment. It's fantastic.
Oh, with Hillary.
About Lewinsky and Tripp and like what happened in the behind the scenes with Clinton. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like those.
Pretty good. Pretty
Is
good.
It a
just saying. It's like a no. What's the word you used from the Ottoman?
Docudrama.
Yeah, docudrama. That's it.
Is that really a docudrama? Really?
It's
nice.
It kind of is. It doesn't tail off into like historians like talking in the middle of it.
I hated that part.
But it's pretty good.
You hated that part.
It's pretty good.
The old guy like talking about like giving us a history lesson. He was like, "What the hell are we watching here?"
The whole thing is literally about Bill Clinton not even avoiding. It's Bill Clinton getting blowjobs and lying about it. That's the whole. It's like 5 episodes of just Clinton being a pig.
So, did you need a documentary what did they reveal anything new?
I had no idea the women involved were as psycho as they were.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess if you aren't familiar.
And I didn't realize Clinton was as big of like a. I knew Clinton was getting freaky with it, but.
Yeah, he's back.
He was. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was good. I'm just gonna say it was good. And the characters are like, everything is from the '90s, and you're like, oh my god, they did a great job bringing the '90s to your TV from just the telephones and the TV dinners. I was like, my God, this was done really well.
Things that make him happy are just priceless.
Watch an episode, Azar. Because you know why? Watch an episode.
I thought he was gonna like have like an action show or something that he's watching.
Jarvis, actually,
no, you can watch this with the wife. The wife will get into this, and it's entertaining.
Hey, now that Jarvis is finally back on our podcast, I do actually want to ask him because I honestly don't know if he started watching this or not. Do you watch Heels on Stars?
No, I have not. I have not yet. The wrestling bad guys.
Yes, I think you would like.
Yeah, I have not yet. You know what? I was trying to catch up with the Dark Side of the Ring, and then there was some terrible Japanese one on, and I was like, "Whoa, this is not good."
Yeah.
But I was trying to catch up on that. Did you see the one about the flight, the Ric Flair flight?
No.
Oh my God! Everybody. So there was a flight. Azar's gonna hate me. He's gonna hate me. I didn't even mean it. I didn't even mean this. This is an accident.
Azar's already preoccupied. He keeps looking back at his TV because his fantasy players are on right now. And he wants to see what the hell they're doing.
They're in the red zone.
Azar, turn your thing off for a second.
Okay.
There was this infamous flight. Now Vince and Linda McMahon were on the flight. Ric Flair was on the flight. Rob Van Dam was on the flight. Who's the guy from ECW? Tommy Dreamer? He might have been on the flight. There was probably like 20, 30 WWE or F at the time wrestlers on the flight. And it was from London.
The
They were
Is
coming
this
back.
why you didn't want AJ to hear?
Yeah. I think they were coming back from England. So Ric Flair gets the stewardess, drags her
Shocker.
into the back, and whips his pecker out, and is like grabbing her hand and making her wank him off on the plane. Everybody
Wait a
was
minute.
shit faced.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Back up. Wait, back up. So is this what is
Dark
this?
Side of the Ring.
Oh, okay. So it was a Dark Side of the Ring based on this one flight from Ric Flair. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
But it wasn't just Ric Flair. So there was half of it was all of the people on the flight trying to just tell their side that it wasn't that bad and how underplayed this thing was, but how messed up all the stewardesses got from the sexual abuse they endured the whole flight back. And so it's from their perspective trying to tell their story. It was so bad. Every wrestler that was indicted on this episode has been released or has had press releases out that they've been suspended just for being outed on this episode.
Oh, okay. And this happened like 30 years ago or whatever.
The episode was the event was like in the 90s, I think.
Right.
But the episode just aired, and guys today are getting released.
Yeah, it's just it came back to catch up to them, right? It came back to bite them.
Right, and Flair knew it was coming out, and that's why he disappeared from WWE.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, because he's been kind of missing here for a few months. So that's funny.
He popped up on NWA for some anniversary thing, and he was going to be on AEW, and they quickly were like, "No, move along."
Well, it's funny that you actually mentioned that about that because I didn't know about that. I haven't really watched any of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. I don't even know like the topics that are out or whatever. So that's actually interesting, but it is actually funny. It ties back into an episode of Heels, and I won't give it away. There is one scene in the show that's very reminiscent of what you just said about that flight. So, and if you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean. You'll be like, "Yep, that's exactly what I was talking about the flight." There's a scene in there that's very, very similar to how you described it.
It's got to be rooted. That's got to be what it's based on then. But go back and watch Dark Side of the Ring. It's I'll look up what the actual episode is, but
I will.
It's the flight.
I actually heard them talk about that on other podcasts.
I bring cutting edge info to you after all.
A little old news, but that's okay.
Bitches.
But you haven't been on for a while.
He doesn't ever want to give you credit, Jarvis.
No.
No.
I'm not here for credit.
He lost me as soon as he said.
It is. It's the plane ride from hell. That's the episode. Plane ride from hell.
All right. Plane ride from hell. You got to check that out. Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've watched one of those episodes. Those are pretty good. I think when the A&E biographies came out, those were really
good.
Level.
But the Dark Side of the Ring. The other one you should watch is the Dynamite Kid.
Okay. Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Who ended up becoming K-Pac?
X-Pac?
X-Pac. Yes. 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 Whatever. X-Pac. Whatever else. He had like 3 different names throughout his whole career.
Yeah. Sean Waltman.
Yeah.
That guy. He was 1, 2, 3 kid, 6-pack, X-Pac, and then douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
He sucked.
He was like the jobber of the group.
Until that Monday Night Raw episode with Bret Hart, where, by the way, did you see CM Punk's return on AEW when they pulled the same sequence in his match with Darby Allin? They pulled the same sequence that the 1, 2, 3 kid and Bret Hart pulled at like a pinnacle of that match on Monday Night Raw, which was the whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched.
If you watch
AEW, but
there's a side by side. AEW is pretty good.
It's really good.
There's a side by side where CM Punk went and got like an armbar takedown by Allen, and when he landed on his ass, like the same thing. 1, 2, 3 kid flipped Bret Hart, and they both kind of did the same like head tilt and like quick turn on, like spun around onto his knee, and CM Punk did the same thing. And I would have never picked up on it until I saw afterwards. There were all these side by sides online about. It was the same. It was an identical sequence with like the same like shocked reaction to "I can't believe that kid just got me" type thing.
Okay,
and I mean it was sequence for sequence. Like they were. It was definitely
choreographed it.
Yeah, it was right out of that match.
Awesome. Speaking of CM Punk, he is in an episode of Heels as well. So he comes back, he kind of has a little cameo in it. So
He's trying to make his acting debut.
yeah, he was pretty good in it too. He was really good.
All right, we'll give it a whirl. Heels.
And that is the wrestling segment of the podcast.
See, you can't do this without me.
Yes, exactly.
Long overdue.
I can't talk
You
to
can
Azar about
you
it.
can walker, white hog walker, or whatever those freaking winter warriors are, and freaking whatever you talk about over there in Ring World. But my God, if you want to talk about a flying elbow drop, I'm your guy.
So let me get this straight. I mispronounce names. Okay, I know that. I say Stefan, Steven. I get that. This monkey sits there and says, like,
So you watch football and should know who these people are. I actively get the names wrong out of protest of not watching these freaking shows.
You're protesting watching a show that was extremely popular. Like, I don't. Like, what point are you making? You're spiting.
Well,
yourself.
how else am I going to become Roper if I don't protest something you want me to watch?
That puts you in Roper category. Clearly,
I'll watch it in 20 years. He just watched Indiana Jones 35 years later.
Careful. You keep hanging out with Roper. We're going to call you Mr. Furley pretty soon. You'll be Furley and Roper.
Oh.
If he ever comes on the podcast, then maybe I will acquiesce to that name. But until then, no way.
There's no way you're going to get him on there. But, well, it's I am getting a little worried about you, but that's okay. That's okay. But did you guys get your wrestling out of your system?
I think so. Well, we could do a whole podcast.
I know you could.
We could.
I would love to let you guys do that, but then
you give us the okay. When you give us the okays, we're ready to go anytime. The drop of a hat.
I have to spare everybody because I know the Winter Olympics are in 4 months for the Winter Olympics, and God knows.
Wait. I can't wait.
God knows we're gonna get another dissertation from.
Can't wait.
From Jarvis about the importance of what the Olympics means and the sense of patriotism he feels every time
He's goddamn right.
he watches the damn Olympics. Oh man, I can't wait for the winter months because it's going to be some good times because there's nothing else to talk about except the Winter Olympics. Because after the Super Bowl, I'm screwed with you guys.
That's it.
Nothing.
It's going to be a whole lot of slalom skiing in your face.
And I'm not a big Winter Olympics fan.
I will convert you. So. You will be after this winter.
Right.
You will be.
Right.
It's going to be wrestling and Olympics. So I'll let you guys know. Get ready. It'll be that's what's in store in a few months from now. Get ready. All right, Big Meat. Let's transition to football because let's put the rest of the main time. I really wanted to dive into because I know you're a third man also is a big Tom Brady. What's the good word for you guys?
Honk.
Homer.
Homers. Lapdogs. The whole collection of you guys. Basically, were you guys happy that Tom Brady was getting his ass kicked around, or
a little bit?
Were you guys heartbroken? Because I know Big Meat jumps off the bandwagon as the wind blows, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I was a little bit torn because, as you know, I have Tom Brady in my fantasy league, and I lost this last week because Tom Brady had a bad game. So I was a little torn, but despite fantasy football, put that aside, if that didn't even exist, I like to, because I'm a Patriots fan first, and I want to see, I wanted to see the Patriots win. Now it was a double, actually a triple whammy for me because A, the Pats lost and Tom Brady won. B, I lost in fantasy football, and C, I lost some money on that game too because I bet on Tampa and they didn't cover the spread. So I was a loser all throughout that night, and that's why I wasn't happy.
And if I recall correctly, weren't you having that same problem on opening night? Didn't you have that same problem? Didn't you bet on the game and they didn't cover the spread, so you were upset?
But it was the other way around. I had bet on the Patriots opening night. Now I bet against my heart, and I bet on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, thinking they're going to definitely win by more than a touchdown. No, not so much.
No. I got to tell you, when Judon sacked Tom, that made my night That was the game for me right there. I was so happy to see him get rattled and someone knock him on his ass. I had a grin from ear to ear. I can't believe how much he gets away without getting hit.
Azar's just a hater.
It's not.
Just a hater.
He's not.
Azar wants to see Mahomes win 6 Super Bowls. We have that on record.
Yeah.
We have that on record.
Now
I
7.
do. Why does it matter if someone else that's good football? Like you're getting entertained.
It's not good football. Once in a lifetime is good football. 2 and 3 copycats is no longer parody. It's now just the next guy up has to do it, and it's scripted. Nobody should ever do this again unless the NFL wants it to happen, which means they're scripting it. First and foremost. So shove Mahomes in 6 Super Bowls.
All right, what if it's Mac Jones?
No, I don't want it.
You still wouldn't want Mac Jones to win another 6 Super Bowls?
I'm rooting for it. I don't think it's good for football. I don't think it's what anybody wants to see.
That'd be great for a Patriots fan.
Yeah, but that's not what you said. You were rooting for Patrick fucking Mahomes.
Is it a take snake moment?
If it was Rodgers, you'd be singing a different tune. That's where you're fake. Because if it was Rodgers,
how am I fake?
You'd be saying the same thing.
Rodgers' career is over.
Jarvis.
Rodgers' career is over. He is what he is.
All right.
I'm sitting here rooting for him to win one more, but never at the expense of the Patriots. Yes, I would love the Patriots to win every Super Bowl for the rest of existence with every quarterback that they have forever and ever. I'm not rooting for a random quarterback in the league to amass the same number of Super Bowls as Tom Brady.
It's not random.
Yeah,
It is
random.
How's it random?
Because you picked Mahomes out of a hat.
Exactly.
Shut up.
Why didn't you pick Dak Prescott? He's more black than Mahomes. You must be racist.
What?
Azar.
Why'd you pick the most white black quarterback there was?
I missed the Felger takes. I missed the Felger takes. You're talking out of your ass.
I'm not.
Jarvis. You
are. Mahomes.
I'm just trying to instigate him. Why do you want Mahomes to win 6 Super Bowls?
Mahomes is a far more entertaining
than who?
Quarterback than Dak Prescott.
So why does he deserve 6 Super Bowls? Something that has only been done once.
So I'm the racist, but you want the white guy to always hold the title.
Exactly.
So no person of color can take that title.
Tell him, Azar.
So who is actually?
No, I just said Dak Prescott.
So you're sitting there. You want the shades of color determining, if he's qualified.
No other quarterback will ever win 6 Super Bowls because it shouldn't ever happen again. There's too much parity in the league. You want that. You want parity. The root of my argument is you want parity. You want somebody.
No, that's not why. That's not why you said it. You fraud.
Yes, it is.
You said you don't want anybody to take Tom Brady.
No, I didn't. I said I don't want. Yes, it is. It should not happen. Yes, I have. Go back and listen. It should not happen. Nobody should be so. You're telling me that Michael Jordan is going to happen again?
LeBron. What the hell's LeBron? He's there. He's the next generation of. He's the next.
Does he have 6 championships?
How many? What is he at right now? He's at what?
5.
5? Okay. With.
So you don't think LeBron could have potentially match Michael Jordan?
He would have to go back to Miami and win 3 more.
All right. So now you're saying okay, look
at. Tom won it with 6 with the Patriots. I didn't say 7. I said 6. You said Mahomes at 6. That's with the Chiefs.
It has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does. One team, one person. See, you're saying you want Mahomes to be the next Brady. I don't want there to be another Brady. I want the league to be competitive every year.
If there is going to be obviously no one's going to replace Brady because he won't freaking go away. That's the problem. So obviously,
you see how mad he gets? This guy is defying everything. He just wants his replacement to be in.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just want Brady's gone. I hope Mac Jones wins 7 Super Bowls, and I hope Mac Jones wears number 12 for the Patriots.
All right. This is all this is. Okay, so now let me move on instead of taking the bait, right? Because now we see the hook, line, and the bait. There's a big juicy piece of chum in the water here. He's trying to get me to bite. I'm not going to bite on it. I'm not going to do it. One bite. Everyone knows the rules. I took a bite. I'm done. Now, the game. I thought that it was like, and I said this on the text a little bit, but nobody really
your
checked. No.
microphone.
I'm not
echoing.
taking your bait.
You're
I'm
echoing.
echoing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Relax.
Is that better? Is it better? Okay.
There you go.
So
We
I
love
said this on the
soft,
text
buttery
thread.
voice.
Oh, well, yes, baby. I said on the thread, I don't know if you guys saw it. When I was watching the game, I felt like I was rooting for Tom Brady to get what he deserved in both ways that it sounds. I wanted him to come back, and not that I'm mad at the Patriots as a team, but I was mad at the the management of the organization to let the team go in the direction that it's continuing to go in. And this guy should still be a Patriot. I was mad that he would had to come back here as a Buck. So I wanted him to come in and show just a little vindication. But what I left with was Brady got the vindication. The fans cheered for him when it mattered, when he had their attention. They booed him during the game, which was cool. And my God, did Mac Jones play to earn the respect of the fans? He didn't. It wasn't the game wasn't being managed around him. I didn't smell Belichick or McDaniels trying to do something. They said to this kid, "Go prove yourself tonight." And I watched this kid take. The only way I can describe this is like if Brady is Ivan Drago and Mac Jones was like the underdog Rocky going into this thing. I was like, this kid's taking every shot. He's like a piece of iron. And he just stood there and took everything the Bucs threw, and they hit him with everything. That guy Tyron, holy God, did he come off the edge with authority? And Mac Jones he made mistakes.
He got hit hard.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That kid took everything and he balled. He didn't, but it wasn't like an Alabama game where he was throwing 50-yard outs to like Devontae Smith streaking down the sideline for big touchdowns. This was like, I need to take a shot off the face to get a 3rd and 7. And man, he stepped up and took everything. I left that game going, I'm at peace with my love for Brady. And now that he's a Buccaneer but I left that game with, it's okay to move on from Brady because this kid is worth investing in. At that point I went, I hate Belichick as a GM. I hate the ego. I hate all the Seth Wickersham stuff. I hate the way it's ruining the team and what it could be. But my God, I removed all that and said, this kid is worth my passion to return to the team because he freaking balled. He took everything as a rookie. Just stepped right in there, and man, that kid delivered a performance that was worth coming out of going, I am in. It's not going to be pretty, but I am in.
So why did you have to wait for that game to realize it when I told you that back in February?
So the difference between what you said in February versus what happened last Sunday was that you didn't know how he was going to respond. You knew that he was coming from Alabama. Oh, he's supposed to be good. He's this and that. That kid never took hits like that in Alabama. No. That kid never took hits like that in Alabama.
Did I not say the Patriots were going to draft Mac Jones and we have our next Tom Brady for the next 15 years?
I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. He's not the Tom Brady for the next 15 years.
Belger's not going to give you any credit. He doesn't do
when
that.
I just spoken.
Said, the kid is worth watching on Sunday. That's better. That's more real to me right now than like, oh, we got the next Tom Brady. There's no next Tom Brady.
Everything.
Stop saying there's the next Tom Brady. This kid is worth win or lose because the team is mildly average at best. This kid is worth watching on Sunday.
But don't you see a lot of similarities? And this will go as far as Belichick will be there because Belichick, he'll be able to bring him along. It's not like, Cam Newton in there, right? He's got his own set of skills and talents that you can't mold Cam Newton into a quarterback and say, well, he's going to be the next Tom Brady. This guy has all the similar skill set that Tom Brady had, right? He was not very athletic, not very fast, but he was accurate.
Tom Brady's 6'5", right? 6'5".
I think he's 6'4", and I
All
think this
right,
kid
whatever.
is what,
Mac Jones is
6'3"?
6'1". No, he's tiny.
Oh, he is not 6'1". I think he's a
I
little
don't.
taller than that.
I don't think he's much. Maybe 6'2".
Well, whatever.
He's
Whatever.
small.
But I think just in terms of just how they play, let him, leave the
He's 6'3".
you know. I thought he was 6'3". I thought he was he's an inch shorter than Tom Brady. But even
Tom Brady's
despite how
6'4",
tall
he's
he is,
6'3".
No, I
it's
thought
not-
they play at a different
Cam
height.
Newton was taller. He's at 6'5". So
Cam Newton was
Newton's
tall,
a
and I
giant.
think Peyton Manning was 6'5". I think Peyton Manning was around 6'5". But there's a lot of similarities there. And if you remember, I mean, Tom Brady didn't really play his rookie year; it was his second year. He got hit a lot. I think I remember reading something where he had 41. He got sacked 41 times that second season, and he didn't play every game.
The correlations are there. I'll give you the correlations. But what I won't do is sit here and be like, we got the next Brady. There's no next Brady. I just want this kid to be good. And he's good.
You're limiting your expectations. I get it. But it's hard to duplicate what Brady has done in his career. I don't think it's ever going to be done.
That's all I'm saying. If Mac Jones can get us to the championship
game, not in our lifetime.
I want to watch a season and think that we have a chance to make it to the championship game. It's the Super Bowl will come, whatever, but like the reality is you want to be competitive up until championship weekend. That's a measure of a successful, sustainable team. Mm-hmm. Just so happens Brady had that extra factor to win those big games. If Mac Jones can make us competitive, which I think he can, I'm in. All I want to do is get to championship weekend. And, the Super Bowls, yes, obviously I want to win them. But as a fan, looking at a team feeling like it's worth investing, and we can correlate this to the Red Sox who are playing right now and getting their asses kicked, or at least they were the last I checked. When you see a team and like with Mac Jones, you get somebody that connects with New England as a fan base. New England is like the angry redheaded stepchild of America. Like we have little man complex when it comes to our sports teams. We have to just boast and be the best, but we need a guy to rally around. Every team needs that guy that we say our guy is better than yours, even if it's not true. The whole country, for all of Brady's career here, thought Manning was a better quarterback. It wasn't until the very end that it was undeniable. We thought Ortiz, and then Mookie after that, was the best baseball player, and everybody touted all these other players. And at the end of the day, our guys were able to kind of put up some championships that kept them in the conversation. It's all Boston wants. We just need a guy that's going to put us in the conversation is we're better than you. Even if the National doesn't think it's true, we just need to be able to compete.
No, yeah, you've said that. You've said that before.
But that's
so at least you're consistent there.
But that's what's missing the mark across the board in sports. Until now, I say that Mac Jones gives Boston that short man complex rebuttal that we've needed. And the Patriots have not had it since Brady left.
Well, and you could already say just this early into the season, he was the 5th quarterback drafted and so far is playing the best out of all the quarterbacks. I know some of them haven't really played all that much.
Yeah, that's a different debate. That's a different debate.
Yeah, but the analysts are all saying it. It's not like it's a hot take from Big Meat. That everybody's saying it. He's starting. He's not losing.
But it is a little bit of the underdog factor that Jarvis was talking about.
He was. I think I don't know if he's truly an underdog. I mean, he was.
Well,
he was a high prospect. He just didn't go as early as we thought he was going to go.
No, but when he was, nobody was picking him to be drafted very early. I know there was some talk with like
the 49ers.
The 49ers where they moved up and but they didn't take him. They took.
You really thought he was going to go into the 15th round? He was going to last that long?
To the 15th pick?
Well, yeah. Azar, John did because he had that pick picked. You set him up. You set him up to boast. Why did you do that?
No,
what?
Okay.
You snake snake or whatever the hell you said.
You knew, like everybody thought he was going to go earlier. Like there was going to be a move. Someone's going to go.
No, nobody.
He did. John didn't. John mock drafted right there. I have the paper.
Nobody thought he was going to go early, and I think as the draft was inching closer, then people were starting to say, okay, he is showing some good things, what he's doing at camp and whatever.
He was
and he might
rated
get
as a
drafted
second
little bit
round,
early.
second round.
But he was
quarterback.
rated, yeah, right. Early on, he wasn't even a first rounder. It was
Right.
all Trevor Lawrence first overall. They loved Justin Fields. They loved his athleticism. They loved Trey Lance. They loved Zach Will. They loved all these athletic quarterbacks. And here comes Mac Jones, and you get that picture that goes around, and he's got the pot belly, and he's smoking a cigar, and it's like, how is this guy going to be an NFL quarterback? And he's playing better than all of them.
All right, this kind of derailed, which always happens when Jarvis is on the podcast.
I didn't derail it. Wait a second.
Right.
I didn't derail it.
So the point, we were back.
He gets so defensive. What do you mean? I didn't derail it. What do you mean?
For the sake of time, all right, because we kind of went on a tangent. It's not a Mac Jones. We've already had the conversation about, are we happy about Mac Jones? We did all this stuff.
I answered your question.
The game, going back to the game. So
Yeah.
the big thing about the whole game, I want to go back. One, to your point, you did address it, Jarvis. It was exciting to see Mac Jones stand tall, go toe-to-toe with Brady, kept the game close because they had no run game. It was actually extremely pathetic. But that front line with the Tampa defense, you can't fault the Patriots for that. You think they would have done a little bit better. I'm still worried about our run game. That just scares me that if they face a strong defense, they can't run the ball at all. Like, that's just sad.
Isn't that crazy that the two parts of their team that we thought was the strongest is like awful? Like their offensive line and running the ball and their front seven on defense. Like, we thought those were their strengths.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's
Terrible.
It's crazy. Now, with that all said, what I was hearing on the radio that got me flustered, and I texted about it, and and everybody knows how I feel about Felger because I think he just throws freaking grenades out and just is full of shit.
Wait a minute, which Felger? The Felger on the radio or the Felger
on the
we have
radio
on the podcast?
Dick.
And then we have it reparroted to us on the podcast.
That's bullshit.
I don't understand. Like the take was now all of a sudden Mac Jones, he was a hero, and Belichick was being the wuss because of the 4th and 2, going for the long field goal, which they thought there was no chance. Where did you guys stand on that? I'm just curious.
I thought it was a great decision. I mean, the guy hit the post. I mean, obviously he had enough confidence in the kicker to kick it and have the distance to make it there, and he's been really accurate, for a while now, and the distance was there. He just missed it by a couple of inches. Like, it hit the post. Like, if that went in, everybody would say, "Whoa, great call, great decision, great call."
So the flip side of that is if it went in, right, and this is part of the take that you hated, if it did go in, 55 seconds are on the clock for Brady to come back and kick a field goal to win. We don't know if that's part of the equation if it goes in, right? And that was a little bit of what the radio take was. So it was Belichick. So it was a 56-yard field goal, I think, right? Nick Folk had only hit that distance once in the last however many years. It was in Denver. The conditions so he hit a 58-yarder in warm-ups in dry conditions with no pass rush. So you put heavy rain, wet balls, intense pass rush on the kick, pressure to win the game, all at a distance that he hadn't hit in like 10 years. All of those factors were like part of why would you make this guy do this in this spot when you had a chance to continue to march down the field, take more time off the clock, go for it on 4th down at that point, go all in and try to get the win, because at that spot you had been consistent in hitting 3rd down. There were a bunch of Greg Bedard on that same radio segment put out a bunch of statistics that actually said you were pretty effective on 3rd and short throughout the game. And the numbers there make an argument for that to make sense. Now, do I think in the moment when you're that close, it's 4th down, you're within your kicker's distance, let him go and hope your defense holds? Nuts to bolts, that's the logic, right? You put your kicker out there, he can hit from that distance, you think. Clearly has the distance, he hit the post. And you hope for the best. You get to second guess. So like if Azar, the same difference, if he hit the kick and then Brady marches down the field because there's a minute left and scores, we could be sitting here going, Belichick knew Brady was going to come back for 40 yards and kick a field goal. Why didn't he try to go for it? Blah, 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 right? But on the flip side, I look at the series before. Mac Jones had Hunter Henry streaking across the end zone wide open and never hit him. Just he threw it into Jonnu Smith in tight coverage and almost threw a pick. And that would have put the game out of reach for the Bucs, because then they would have had to come back and score a touchdown. So I get what you're saying about how the radio was trying to just drop a grenade, but I think there were so many minute variables that could be added up that I think it was a toss-up. You could have gone either way. I think the kick was the safe decision, but I would have loved to see them nut up and just go for Brady's throat. Like, all or nothing. Let's just ram it. Take this guy's chance for a comeback away. I would have loved that. It would have been like a ballsy statement.
That's the Felger take. That's the take I didn't like. It was basically because Belichick didn't go for it, he was being a wuss. He was being this whine, and they were attacking. Felger attacks Belichick nonstop. He
defends him too, though. Wait, you got to say he does defend him a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He plays both sides.
He does, but he acknowledges that. That's why you can't.
He just wants the hot take, though. He just wants to get a rise out of people.
But he makes up things.
That's okay.
And I think that's where I said Greg Bedard was like the voice of reason. It was like he basically
didn't Greg Bedard tell him like stop being dramatic or something? And
yeah, he puts him in place all the time.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been cool. It would have been It would have been an awesome statement for Belichick to say, "I've seen you do this too many times, Brady. I'm going for your throat."
Yeah, but you know what?
And go for it.
Belichick did exactly what his strength is. He did something that almost no one has been able to do. He flustered Brady that whole effing game, even with the weaknesses in our defense. And that was something I talked about at the last podcast. The chance of them winning, the odds were against them. But if they put up a competitive game and kept it close and went toe-to-toe with the juggernaut that was everybody's hyping.
Could they have done that without the rain?
All right. Well, I mean, the
weather, you never know, right? With the fact of the weather.
You could argue, could they have beaten them with if Gronk was there? I think
it would have been the same. It would have been the same game with or without Gronk. I think
Gronk would have added a little bit more of an element to the game. But
Gronk, Brayton, OJ Howard, at this point they're all the same. It's just when Brady throws to him. Speed, height wise, they're all.
I don't agree with that. I think Gronk and Brady have that chemistry that
they have the chemistry
together for so long.
When the plays fall apart, Gronk knows what to do. That's the thing that makes Gronk more special.
You notice Brady trying to.
I don't think the rain. I think the rain had more to do with. I think the rain had a bigger impact on Brady than. I think the Belichick had his defense, and he would have done some good things against Brady. But I think the rain took Brady more out of his game than Belichick's defense. Because a lot of throws Brady made were to open receivers.
Yeah.
But overthrows, underthrows.
That's a tell of Brady. When Brady feels like he's under pressure, Brady does that.
But was he really under pressure a whole lot? I mean, listen, the Matt Judon hit was awesome. I loved seeing them get to Brady. Like, all I wanted was for Belichick to try to do what the Ravens have done to him year after year. That's the blueprint, right? Just throw and you have Matt Judon. He's a Raven. Like, just throw the Ravens defense at him and you're probably going to do well. And they did. But I think as much credit as Belichick got and deserves, without the rain, I don't think it looks like that. I think they cover the spread.
Yeah, well,
that's debatable. I think because Mac Jones was playing in the same rain and he outplayed Brady in that game. And it was a couple of plays, but you chalk that up to rookie mistakes, right? I mean, Hunter Henry or whatever.
Yeah, because the rain, you can say the rain about as much as you want. They came out with more talent, and they did less with it. I mean,
just to go back to what you were saying, like with like the kick, right? If the kick ended up being short, right, and it was like it didn't even get to the post, right, and it was short, or if he kicked it and it was wide right or wide left, I would be the first one to say, look, He couldn't do it, right? I mean, why would you put your kicker in that position in the rain, not being able to do it, not being able to kick a field goal that long, whatever in years or whatever how long it was, and give Mac Jones a chance. But he didn't. He literally missed it by like an inch,
Yeah.
an inch, right? I mean, it could have still hit the post and still kind of bounced in. And sure, you're giving 50, 55 seconds back to the Bucks and Brady with 2 timeouts. But then, you try to, you worry about it then from your defense. Your defense is
Sure.
already having a great game against Brady and that offense. Maybe they have one more thing, one more left in the tank, right, to stop
Yeah,
them.
you never
if
know what comes out at that point. You never know.
If Brady marched back, right, would all be sitting there, well, the defense let them down again. Like, they played great, but they let them down towards the end there. I can't blame, somebody to go for it on 4th and 3 yards is still in the rain. Like you said, it's still tough to get those 3 yards when everybody is amped up. The game's on the line. You got a rookie quarterback in there. I don't know. I think I always like taking the risk in situations like that. Every time it's 4th down and short, I'm always the type to go for it. I never want to say, hey, it's on the 1 yard line. No, punch it in, 4th down, go for the touchdown, screw the field goal. But in this case here, in hindsight, now you're looking back like, hey, the guy barely just missed. So I thought it was the right call.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much where I lie on that too. I would have loved to have. I would have loved to have seen what happened. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen what happened if they went for it, but he could have made it. It was close enough.
And if he didn't get it, if he didn't get it, he would have been the same complaining. They would have found some reason.
It would have been
that was a shitty play call. Why did you put it in his hands?
It would have. You know what it would have been? It would have been 4th and 2 in Indianapolis all over again.
Exactly. We've been talking about that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, why would they go for it? You have Nick Folk. When was the last time he missed a field goal? Like, just let him kick it. Like,
he was making it during warmups. Why would you not trust him? And
it's okay to debate it. It's okay to be like, maybe they should have went for it. And there's, but for somebody like Felger to come out and like just blast it like as if it was like the worst decision of all time, that's where I'm like, all right.
And then the flip side, it was getting me aggravated. He was making up a conversation that he was having with Brady in the fucking locker room. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Call your dogs off.
Yeah, Belichick went in there whining, please. You got to stop having them go to the media.
Yeah. Can you picture Belichick ever saying anything like that? Like,
I shut it off. I shut it off. I'm like, what the fuck are you like? I can't go through life listening to whiny. I'd rather just fucking listen to CNN all day and want to blow my brains out. Like listen to someone lie to me, make shit up. Like watching a riot take place and saying it's peaceful is like that's the shit I'm like listening to with Felger.
So just to be clear,
he is the Nicolas Cage of fucking talk radio.
No,
Azar hates whiny talk show radio guys and whiny characters and shows. He just like eliminate the whiny.
Is that why you don't talk to me anymore, Azar?
No. I can't take. Life is too short. If you want to debate bad call, this call, but when you get to the point now, you're making up a conversation because you just want an agenda. Like you want this hot take. You want to be like, well, I want to stick it to Belichick because shut the fuck up. You're just full of shit. And if you're sitting there wasting your time listening to that, what the fuck are you getting out of that? You're getting nothing out of that. It's not. I'd rather throw on a podcast and listen to anything else than listen to that stupid and then have his fucking monkey parrot
like our podcast.
At least we debate things. I don't go in there and say, you know what, Belichick fucking went in there and he was kissing Tom's ass and he went in there and he was telling him about Gilmore and Gilmore was trying to convince Brady was trying to convince Gilmore to go to the well. Based on what? What are you guys coming out of? Like they were just throw anything out there and see if it sticks. And then there's idiots that call in to debate it. I'm like, dude, are you that stupid? You really think that happened? Like
they sit on hold for like an hour and a half to get on that show?
Yeah, like it's just so. And I'm like, what am I listening to? This is so stupid. So, anyways. So then I put on my fantasy football podcast that I listened to, and I was like, fuck this. I'd rather listen to something.
You know what the good thing about it though is, and why there is a place for that, at least a little bit, is because if you don't have that, you don't have the accountability that makes Boston great. You don't have the demand for excellence.
What?
Now think about it. Hold on a second.
So throwing hot takes is
So don't go to the extreme, all right? Don't Felger this here, okay? What I'm saying is when you have somebody constantly putting a spin on what you're doing, like the Red Sox at the trade deadline, like Belichick with Cam Newton, and like when we didn't think he was going to start Mac Jones, like when he didn't re-sign Brady. When you have people like the other radio shows on the other stations that are more of just like, oh, I hope the Red Sox win tonight. Oh, I hope that this is how the Patriots are going to win. You need a little bit of that. Like, wait a second, what are we doing here? Let's question a little bit because we hold a higher standard. We hold a level of expectation that's a little bit better than what we're getting. So let's just not get excited for what we're getting. Let's criticize what we have a little bit and demand that it become better. There is a place for that. That is where I live right now.
That's okay to have that, Jarvis, and I agree. And I'm more about like the entertainment factor of it. When I listen to radio, I don't want to listen to somebody just talk about how great a team is or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, it's boring to me, right? I do want a little bit of that, but at least like don't make stuff up and don't go.
I don't advocate for any of that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's the part where I don't like. And then he's like bordering like Max Kellerman and like those.
But he knows that he's lobbying to get himself on a national show. That's all. That's why he comes up with this crazy shit. He's trying to go viral.
I mean, have you ever heard like Shannon Sharp, like some of his takes? Like
they're
just ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Yeah. And so I'm supposed to listen to that and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get upset over his takes and
honestly, I listen to it for the I listen to him for their non-sports related takes, like when he goes off on about like meteors hitting Earth and wearing like they go on some pretty funny tangents, and that really is what gets my attention.
I don't mind the show, but he doesn't do that as far as I can tell. I never see him pull that shit with the Bruins. He doesn't pull that shit.
He likes the Bruins. He's a Bruins fan.
But my point is, because he doesn't like Belichick.
He likes Belichick.
But listen, if you listen to that,
I heard that segment.
Don't tell me he walked out. Like he might like Belichick. He's full of shit. He's making shit up. He's trying to create a controversy that's not there. And sometimes that's like overreaching. And that's just like what John was saying. That's
you got to sift through all that because that's fine. And I get that. Shannon Sharp sucks too. And yes.
But I have the power to change the dial. So I'm not saying, look at
the level that show goes is toxic. But as far as what is applicable or why there's a place or why you guys call me Felger because clearly you think I take his word, I like the fact that he at least puts the air of question into people's minds a little bit. I don't dive off the deep end with him, even though I get accused of it. I like that when, like, for instance, with Cam Newton, they were all over him. Why would you bring in this bum? He played like shit. They were demanding that he get the boot. And you had other people, R3, Antifa, saying that he was the best option we had. Give Cam another chance. I don't need to tell you about it. They were singing his praises to us week after week that Cam wasn't that bad. Felger and Maz are standing here going, eyeball test. He's hot trash
all right, you say
on the football field.
I'll counter that shit that you're saying because those scumbags, as soon as they cut Cam Newton, they went on a tirade. Why did they cut Cam Newton? Why couldn't they keep him as a backup? They are fucking full of shit. First, he's too shitty to be on the team.
But Azar, you're taking it one step too far. What I'm saying is there needs to be somebody questioning because if not, nobody's kept in check.
But they're switching the dial. Like we're going to argue this
That's
point.
Fine. Don't go so far down the rabbit hole, Azar. I'm telling you, if you listen to EEI, they try to be like 98.5, and it's terrible when they try. And if they don't, they're just sitting there telling you that, hey, be a what do they call those things? Lemurs? What are the things that just fall off a cliff after the next one goes? It's like lemmings, right? So like it's either you're listening to somebody tell you to be a lemming or you're listening to someone tell you to freaking burn down the franchise. You got to have a little bit of both.
Yeah, I don't know. Beetle and Zoe is a better show. I'm sorry.
I'm not debating what the better show is. I'm
Beetle
just
and
trying
Zoe,
to.
at least Zoe is
I like
funny,
Beetle and Zoe.
and he's a homer. They're homers. I can take it.
But
they don't. And they question shit.
But that's
Beetle
what I'm saying. They question shit.
Yeah.
The best radio show probably in my lifetime that I've ever listened to was Callahan and Minahan. When they were together in the morning, that was the best on WEI.
Yeah, and
that was
wasn't
by
even
far
sports.
the best show.
That was just them going off, and that was the character. But I like I said, I don't hate Felger Mess. Sometimes I look forward. I listen to the show. I like when they do basketball talk. But for some reason, I don't know if it's a Globe thing because they're surrounded by the Globe, and the Globe hates the Patriots because they're always attacking the Patriots.
They were Herald writers.
It doesn't matter. But 98.5 is surrounded by Globe people, and the Globe has it, and it just seems like there's always an agenda on the Patriots, and it seems like that's where the hot takes come out of. I think it's bullshit, and I just change it out. I think you don't need. There's so much in that game you could talk about. Don't tell me that Belichick went in as a whiny bitch crying to fucking Brady to get the dogs off. That's where he crossed the line.
That went in one ear and out the other. Like I didn't even pay attention to. Like I heard it and I was like, okay, whatever.
But again, that's my point. They're spending segments on it. They spent it wasn't the whole show, but it was just a stupid thing. And then Maz is like, yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Maz just agrees with anything that Felger says. And then Maz's like voice like raises and it's
squeaky.
Like now he's like yelling to the point to try to like overpower Felger's voice, or he's trying to like as if he thinks if he talks louder, his point is going to come across more.
Yeah, right.
And all it is he's just spewing nonsense.
Look, I demand our franchises right now, the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Patriots, and even at this point now with the Gilmore thing, right? And even the Bruins, although the Bruins are the furthest ahead, they have all fell short of the standard. The Patriots egregiously have managed this team from losing Brady, which is what set me off, through now, which they're still like and again, you probably heard this on Felger and Maz or all these shows that were on there, but they were all analyzing like what the Patriots have lost over the last 3 years and what they have gained for those losses. When you look at when you look at the loss of Gronk, the loss of Brady, the loss of Gilmore, the loss of Tooney, you have a fourth round pick, a 6th round pick, and a 2nd round pick for all that talent. That's what you gained from that. And it's like, in that perspective, that's gross roster mismanagement.
I'm willing to have that debate, and I'm with you.
But that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. I demand why aren't we going? Why isn't Belichick getting he stands up to the podium, won't answer any questions? And that's the other thing that I hate. When you're winning, be a dick. But when you're losing, I'm fucking paying to hundreds of dollars to go watch your team put out dog shit on the field all last year, although nobody was going to the game. Dog shit on the field all last year, and you can't even stand up here and answer a freaking question as to what the hell you're doing.
I'm with you.
Why is that his job?
That's
not his job.
100% it's his job. No. It's 100% his job. They have media. It is his job. They are paid for by the fans. The fans go, the fans support. They have media obligations. It's in their collective bargaining. They have to go up to the podium and answer questions. And I don't give a shit what they think of the media. I don't care if they want not to answer Chris Gasper's question, but they want to answer Phil Perry's question. I don't care who or what. But if somebody says, Bill, why did you not trade Stephon Gilmore a year ago for a 2nd round pick when we knew you were offered one, but you released him now and get a 6th round pick? I want a fucking answer because I want to know.
He doesn't have to answer. That's not his job. Is to answer. His job is to coach the team, and I couldn't care less if there were no press conferences or nothing, or if he just sat there and just.
But I still want to know what the hell is going. I want to know what the plan is. I want to know what we're doing. Why am I emotionally investing? Why am I on the wait list for season tickets if this is the dog shit they're going to put out?
Because if he did, then the media figures out a way. Guys like Felger who will end up spinning what he says.
Who
and it will
cares
be
about
blown
that?
back to the
Talk
team.
to the fans. Tell us, the people that are paying goddamn money.
But you know the
go.
media, they spin everything.
But I don't
Jarvis.
care about the media. The
every
media has to
single
ask the
time.
questions. The media has to ask the questions. You
But
owe
you
it to the
know there's-
fans to
you
give the
know there's-
answer.
Yeah, but the questions that they're asking is, there's always some way that they spin the question to try to get.
So what? You do a
specific
great
answer
job telling your team
from
to
somebody.
ignore the noise. You do a great job telling your team to ignore the noise. Stand up there, or do a press release, or
And-
write a fucking
and
book, or
So
do
what?
something.
So when they ask him, he says, we did what's best for the team."
It's not best for the team. Gilmore didn't play this year. Last year, you could have got a 2nd-round pick. This year, you got a 6th-round pick. He didn't play. He
How do you
sat
know-
out.
How do you know Gilmore was just going to sit out the whole season and we get nothing? Right? I mean, you don't know that. I mean, so I mean, yeah, you trade him away for a 6th-round pick, which is nothing for him. But if Gilmore wasn't planning on coming back to play, we weren't getting him anyway.
You should have traded him.
And all we did was we saved $5-6 million or whatever it was.
You-
off the cap.
I still ask the same question. Why didn't you trade him? You knew this wasn't going anywhere.
How did he know that last year? Maybe last year, maybe things were different. He thought maybe they could smooth it out, maybe they could fix it up, do something, and it didn't work out.
That's my problem. There's no way that Belichick is that naive.
I just feel like we've been down this road. We've seen this movie with Belichick so many years, and every single year there's always some big thing.
But he's had Brady before. Now you don't have that.
We have the next coming of Brady.
No. Case in point, Belichick has completely changed his style of coaching when it comes to being a hardo. There are people now coming in that are like, "Oh, the Patriots are fine. I'm having fun here." But it's all about he's changing his reputation. Listen to Ted Johnson. Ted Johnson comes on the radio and he gives a great perspective because he played for him and he has said on numerous occasions, "I don't recognize this coach. The things he's doing now, he would have never have done."
Fault. That's mandated by the NFL. The NFL is mandating.
I'm not talking about padded practices. I'm talking about how he is handling situations.
Yeah, but that's 20 years ago. It's generational. The kids
it's the same thing.
No, it is not, Jarvis. You know the people now. The generation of the kids, you have to freaking hold their hands. They're not as tough as they were 20 years ago.
You're making my argument for me.
So he had to change. He can't keep going being like, that's why his guys fail when they try to be him. When Patricia went to Detroit.
So then why dig your heels in against Brady and Gronk if you know that you have to change?
What was it like? All right, because we're gonna skip the whole fantasy segment of this because we're running late. Like
just clip it. We'll do a second podcast.
What did Brady want? What did Brady want? Everything.
2 years, $50 million.
No. Wasn't the money. Everything.
Yes, it was.
Now,
it was 2 years and $50 million.
Beyond the money. Everything you're hearing now is
They offered him 1 year, $14 million.
No, I don't think it was the money. I don't think he would have stayed.
And they wanted Alex Guerrero to rub his balls in the locker room.
And how he was treated. He wanted to be treated.
He wanted a little bit more respect. He wanted to be treated differently. You're right.
So what?
Azar's right.
Stroke his ego.
No, Jarvis.
You just said kids are different now.
Yeah, but Belichick has been doing it this way. And his star player finally said, "You know, I don't like this anymore. I wanted to be treated like the superstar." And if you all of a sudden you want him to change. And I know that the hot take from the radio is, well, it's Brady, but Belichick wants to treat everybody the same. He wants everybody to feel equal. And Brady didn't like that anymore. That's why Brady left. He wanted to go run his own team, do what he wants. Because do you think Bruce Arians has any say in that team? When Brady walks in the room, who do you think freaking runs that team?
Yeah.
It's freaking Brady right now.
But I still don't understand. How do you say on one hand that Belichick has to change because kids are soft now, but then on the other hand say he didn't want to change for Brady?
I'm responding to your Ted Johnson point. Like when he was there, it was totally different. The league was totally different. The rules, how they practice, everything is different. So Belichick as a whole, he had to.
So how do we know?
He's pivoting for everybody. He's not pivoting just for Brady. He's pivoting to adjust to the way the players are, but he's treating everybody equally. Brady just doesn't want to be called out in the conference room when he has a bad game. He doesn't want to be pointed at and saying, well, this is the bad throw, Brady. He wants to be Like he was almost like wants to think like he's management now. Like he doesn't need to be treated this way. That's
well, and this came up like during the Tom versus time, right? It was clear that he wanted the appreciation of all the stuff that he's been through. And honestly, I mean, in a way, it's like, I mean, Tom Brady, I think, is on another level. And
how do you fault him for that, though?
I've said it all along, and there's a funny clip of Von Miller actually saying like, how can you not like Tom Brady? He's played for a number of years. He's kept himself healthy. He's a great teammate. He stayed out of trouble, and he's winning championships. It's like, if you hate him, then you're just a hater. And that's this is where I look at Azar when he says like all these things about Brady. Brady's done everything great. I think after 20 years, yeah, I think Belichick maybe should have been a little bit more lenient with him. But I think it goes beyond just the appreciation and the respect that he wanted. I just think it was I've said this before on other podcasts. I said I think it was a mutual agreement. Why can't we all just say, hey, why did Belichick let Tom Brady go? Hey, why did Tom Brady leave? How about if they just got together and just said, look, this is going to be our team. We're strapped salary-wise. We're not going to be good this year. I can't bring in another receiver. Great. Let me go to another team. I'll go to another team. Great. We can move on. Now Belichick can move on and say, let me see if I can win without Tom Brady.
Because
Tom Brady says, let me try to win without Belichick. Tom Brady's already accomplished that.
But that's so simple. Just come out and freaking say it. Say, listen, we're going to rebuild. Tom didn't want to rebuild. Tom wanted to go win now. We let him go. Like, it's so simple to say.
No, I think Belichick said that.
Clear. Yeah,
I think Belichick said that.
You find me the clip where Belichick has even addressed Brady leaving, other than saying we addressed it in a press release. That's all.
He said it. No, he said it last week. He said that he left because Tampa was a better option than us.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he said.
He said
they were a better option than us.
No, I'm talking for the last 2 years, though. Like, this is all drawn out because of the last 2 years. If Belichick said 2 years ago what he just said, we're not talking about any of this. We're not talking about any of it. We're not arguing about it. We're not debating it. I think I saw that. Belichick's roster management beyond Brady is egregious right now. I think the way he's managing the roster doesn't have any explanation, and people are like, you're both Belichick. Give him more credit. Give him. And I'm like, I don't see the reason anymore. I don't see I don't see a guy behind 6 Super Bowls leading this team to the next level. I see
Belichick, the coach, and the GM.
I'm pissed at the GM. I've never once questioned the coach.
We get to debate that on the podcast. I agree with you. He's a terrible GM. He's been, and I can't imagine.
That's why I sided with Brady, because
I think this might be his last year as the GM. I think there might be an ultimatum where you need to
Belichick, the GM, runs the team, supersedes the coaches. Right? Belichick, the GM, is my problem. He's not doing what I want as a fan, sitting on the begging a decade on this wait list to get season tickets, to be like, this is what I'm waiting for? This hot trash to fall in my lap?
I don't disagree with you there.
That's where I'm upset. That's why I went and said, shit, I can get season tickets to Tampa Bay and be happy.
The problem is that when you have someone that's both the coach and the GM, you get kind of stuck because you don't want to just bash him all the time and ignore.
I can always bash him separate from him being the coach.
But it's hard.
It's not hard. I did it very, very articulately and consistently over the last 2 years.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, boys. We went long.
Okay. If we clip it, we can come back and do a fantasy one and post another one. I'm good to go.
Unfortunately, some of us have to work in the morning. So that's
I got to be up in about 6 hours.
Okay. So he's feeling it tonight. So Big Meat, I can sign off if you guys want to do a separate little clip show for yourselves. You can. I'm happy to leave you guys.
No, I think we've gone long enough, Azar. I think you know what? It's been so long since we've had Jarvis on this podcast. I think I'm ready for another little vacation from him now. I don't know.
What a dick! This is why I hang out with. This is why I call Roper now.
I was looking forward, like, hey,
so
Jarvis
mean.
is back. I was like,
so
this is going to be a fun podcast. And now I'm like,
I had a blast.
I had a blast too. But you know what? You're like my kids, Jarvis. You know, like you work all day, you don't see your kids all day, you miss them. Like, oh, I can't wait till they come home. And 10 minutes through the door, you're like, go to bed, get out of here. Like, just like, you know.
Such a dick.
But hey, you know what? We're gonna log off here in another 10 minutes. I miss my Jarvis.
I thought the
miss my
same
Jarvis.
thing. You know what? To end up, my takeaway is I thought I really missed you guys. I really did, and I was really jealous. You guys went to Tampa. I couldn't go. I haven't seen you guys in person in a long time. I forgot you
too
hated
long.
me. It's been so long that I forgot you actually hated me, and
No,
I thought,
Oh my God!
why haven't where are they? I like with my trio. I was and then I went. That's right. I'm only around for them to shit on me.
Not only does Azar hate whiny characters, whiny talk show radio guys, he also hates whiny third man.
Yeah, right.
So be careful.
So if anyone was wondering what I was talking about in the Titans, the whiny Bruce Wayne, just listen to this last 20 seconds. Just rewind again in this podcast. Listen to him whine about no one loves me. You guys don't love me.
Oh no, I'm very loved. It's just not by you two. That's the difference. There's a big difference here. You started the podcast with saying how many people were telling you that they miss me. And here I am getting
we demand more from our sports teams and our third man guests.
So how much more can I give? I give so much. I give the shirt off my back for this.
We want to keep you on your toes. These are the questions we push on you to bring the best out of you. That's what we do. That's your hot take.
Jarvis, go binge watch Heels. We'll come back to the next podcast. We'll have a full-on review of the entire season.
I will. I'm going to do it. It's on. What is it on? Stars?
It's on Stars. Yeah.
I think I get that.
Okay. I know it's on
I think I get Stars.
Yeah.
I don't I don't get that. Whatever that was.
Sling. It's like whatever.
Is that an app?
Service. Sling. Like
you gotta pay for it.
Yes.
I don't have it.
Yes. Is it free? Is it free?
I don't have it.
If Jarvis could watch it on the rabbit ears on his TV, then he'll watch it. I don't know if you can get it on the.
I hold it for better reception
on the old tube television. I don't know if you can watch it on the old.
I would television. If I could.
Yeah,
that is so good.
You're welcome to come over anytime, Jarvis, and you could use my Sling app with Stars to watch it.
I think I get Stars. I don't even think I need that.
All right.
Well, hey, you know what? All that aside, you know what? I take that back. I'm just going to take that as an invite to your house.
Yes.
And I'm coming. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to take it as. That was a friendly invite. We're going to end it on a high note.
Anytime.
That's all.
Much love coming from me, Jarvis.
It's been so long, Meat. That's all I'm saying. It's been too long.
It has.
It's been pent up.
Remember Azar invited us over for a football game and then threw a birthday party instead? Remember that?
And said, psych. Said, yeah, you guys can come over anytime. Psych.
Oh, wait, sorry. Gotta throw a birthday party.
I see how the history is being rewritten on this one.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
I invited you guys, and you had the birthday party or some family event that weekend, and Big Meat couldn't make it that weekend. You guys bailed on me. And then the following weekend, Jarvis goes, all right, I'm available. Why aren't you available for me? It's like, well, I planned it last week for a reason because I was around. This weekend I wasn't around. And it wasn't
so cut and dry. It was fluid.
Hey, listen, well, you know what? It's a long season, Azar, and I say we wait a couple more weeks to watch football so then we know Jarvis is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
What a dick.
He's not quite there yet, but
he was.
He's gonna be right.
It's gonna click. The team's not bad. It's a bad string of luck. The team's not bad.
All right.
That's why he wants to trade and flip his entire team. All right, the draft master there. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap.
My team's good. I just went up. Listen. The team's solid.
He's again so defensive now.
All right, guys. We're gonna sign up right there. I hope you guys.
All right.
For those who were demanding Jarvis, you got a lot of Jarvis in this podcast. Enjoy, and hopefully we'll have him next week.
I'll be back in another 2 months.
I remember him being subdued in the past podcast. This one he is coming full gun.
You know what though? At least we got high energy Jarvis today.
That's
we didn't get we've gone somber Jarvis before. We got we want high energy.
We always kept on getting Bruce Wayne Jarvis coming in very somber.
Yeah.
But this one came in swinging like Robin.
Guns blazing.
Yep. All right, folks. Follow us as always on Apple Podcasts. You can review us there, SoundCloud, and YouTube if you're still streaming through YouTube. All right, Big Meat, Jarvis, thank you for jumping on.
All right. See you, boys.
I'm out of beer.